One of the most fascinating mysteries in history, the 1947 Roswell Incident, has sparked discussions about extraterrestrial life. After reporting it as a flying disc crash close to Roswell, New Mexico, the military rebranded the incident as a weather balloon accident. The mystery has persisted through decades of investigation, eyewitness reports, and the finding of enigmatic metal fragments. Was it a case of misinterpreted earthly events or highly developed alien technology? Roswell is still a fascinating riddle that feeds people's curiosity about the unknown. April 2011. As part of its online FBI vault, the FBI makes thousands of files available. The media and independent researchers notice one specific file. The memo, sent to FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover on March 22, 1950, contains information from informants about 3 flying saucers found in New Mexico. Investigators instantly link the memo to the notorious Roswell Incident, a 1947 alleged UFO crash that many people think the military covered up. There may be more to the Roswell crash than the public was told, as this document is only the most recent in a string of government records made public in recent years. As an investigative reporter, I find it astounding that the number of leaked documents from the 1940s have surfaced and provided information about what truly transpired at Roswell. A rancher named Mac Brazel discovers a variety of odd silver debris on July 4th. He is aware that he has no idea what he is going through. In Roswell, he informs the sheriff that something has crashed on my ranch. Intel is tasked with going to the debris field after leaving Roswell Army Airfield. Additionally, these men are instructed to collect everything in the Mac Brazel Ranch's debris field. It is all to be picked up. The Roswell Daily Record's front page headline states that the military has recovered a flying saucer. However, the official narrative abruptly shifts the next day to imply that it was merely a weather balloon failure. Nick Poe. The 509th Bomb Crew was stationed at Roswell. In the entire world, this was the only squadron equipped with atomic bombs. The best of them were these individuals. It's absurd that intelligence officers at this base would think a weather balloon was something exotic. That could be considered the beginning of the UFO cover-up. Tsoukalos. It makes no difference whether it's meteorites, swamp gas, or weather balloons. It's never a UFO, but something else. The crash at Roswell was concealed. In my view, they quickly repaired the damage to their reputation by retracting the claim that they had captured a flying saucer. Nope, the world was informed, just a weather balloon. And it remained there for over 30 years until witnesses began to come forward and claim that it was, in fact, an alien craft, and that alien bodies were seen by people. Narrator, October 19th, 2019, Central New Mexico. Giorgio Tsoukalos, an ancient astronaut theorist, has been invited by investigative journalist Linda Moulton Howe to accompany her on a trip to a location in the desert outside Roswell, very close to what is referred to as the skip site. According to witnesses, one of the 3 UFOs spotted in the sky in July 1947 first crashed to Earth close to this spot, then was launched back into the air, skipping like a stone in a pond before finally coming to rest. Geologist Frank Kimbler called Linda and wanted to show her the mysterious metal pieces he found here and look around for more. Tsoukalos. This is thrilling, Linda. It has been a few years since my last visit. I'm eager to meet Frank because of this. Linda. Indeed. The geologist looks at the land and says that if there is debris, there will be some sort of drift with the land, so I'm glad that he's helping. Additionally, I believe he has thoroughly researched a few topics. Tsoukalos. Accurate. Narrator. Frank Kimbler greets Giorgio and Linda when they get to the skip site, a local earth science professor and geologist. How are you? Nice to see you. Good to meet you. How are you? All right. It is Linda. Frank. At last. Yes. For many years, you and I have been searching for these artifacts, from UFOs to metals, searching for parts. Indeed, it's fantastic. Narrator. Using metal detectors and infrared technology, Professor Kimbler has been looking for regions beneath the alleged path of the Roswell craft for almost 10 years. Kimbler, various materials will be strewn about when an object crashes, wires, plastic, control devices, knobs, etc. It will leave those pieces behind if it is disintegrating. And I've found a few of those pieces, which is what I'm looking for. Narrator. Since 2011, Professor Kimbler has discovered over a dozen pieces of metal that he has tested scientifically and determined to be extremely rare. That's the thing. We would like to visit the location where you have been receiving this. Tsoukalos. I'm eager, yes. Frank? Yes? What is contained in the case? Oh my goodness, this is the magic. Using a metal detector, I discovered some of the following materials. Well, Tsoukalos. A fascinating one. Kimbler. This stuff is fascinating. Everything is jumbled and twisted. Compacted and twisted metal is expected from a crash. When Professor Kimbler opened his box of metal pieces, the first thing that caught my attention was how small they were. Or might they be from wreckage? Since these pieces are tiny, the government would have overlooked them. Yes, indeed. It would have been impossible for them to locate. This is my magic. Now let's make a comparison. Kimbler. Well, take a look. This. How? Take a look. It resembles a snowfield. All the pieces appear to be in perfect condition after all these years. That is the zinc-magnesium side. Kidler. Incredibly, this has layers to it. You've probably never seen anything like this, though. Number A's a geologist and earth scientist. I have observed various materials in the environment. This is unlike anything I have ever seen. The stuff Linda is showing me in this fragment is simply incredible. It is unlike anything I have ever seen in my life. Additionally, it has some layers and banding, which makes it interesting. Additionally, some of the banding I discovered in photo micrographs of the material I have from here is remarkably similar. I believe that Giorgio is holding something created by an intelligence from a place we don't understand. Additionally, this is genuinely alien. Narrator. In the desert outside Roswell, New Mexico, in July 1947, an unidentified flying object crashed into Earth. In part, because the Army reported the craft as a flying disc, it is currently the most well-known UFO incident on record. Bill Barnes. The July 8th and 9th newspaper headlines read, Army captures flying disc outside of Roswell. How did the newspaper obtain that story? Hout, Walter. He provided the newspaper with the story as the Roswell 509th's official public information officer. However, the military promptly retracted its account. When the government asserted that the dropped craft was only a weather balloon, the enigmatic Roswell UFO was given an earthly origin within days. Along with everything else, they changed it to say that it was a weather balloon. They claimed to have brought it to Ohio's Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Richard Dolan. Why would anyone send a weather balloon to Wright Field for technical analysis when you think about it? Unless that substance was far more exotic and scientifically fascinating than a simple balloon, none of it makes any sense. David Childress. When you consider the entire Roswell incident, the recovery appears to be a hastily organized ad hoc affair. Furthermore, before the military arrived at the crash site, witnesses had already visited. You have to question whether they would get everything amid the chaos of trying to clean up this crash site. In reality, where would this material end up? Would they have accidentally left some of it behind? Narrator. A 1950 briefing to FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover about informant information about 3 flying saucers recovered in New Mexico was among the thousands of files the FBI made public in April 2011 as part of its online vault. According to many researchers, this supports long-standing rumors that 3 crashed UFOs were involved in the Roswell incident. Additionally, many other primarily unknown incidents were reported in the vicinity of Roswell and White Sands Proving Ground during that time. You can see how Roswell comes to mind when people today think of a UFO crash. There have undoubtedly been collisions outside of Roswell in New Mexico. We are aware that numerous UFO crashes occurred starting in the 1940s, 1947, 1948, 1949, and so on. In what way did you acquire these pieces? Art Bell called me one day and said, Linda, I received a box with a letter, and there are some metal pieces in here. That night will always stick in my memory. He continued, I think they're aluminium, but I want you to start investigating. That would have been that spring of 1996. Narrator, Coast to Coast. AM is a long-running radio show with a paranormal theme. It was founded and originally hosted by Art Bell. Little pieces of metal arrived in the mail for him and Linda in 1996. A man who introduced himself in 5 typewritten letters began sending us 2 shipments. He added that he was a sergeant in the Army and that his grandfather had left a box containing medals and a diary when he passed away in 1974. The Army sergeant replied, I want you to have this and see what you can find out. Narrator. In 1948, the grandfather was part of a recovery crew between Roswell and White Sands Proving Ground, and the letters describe how he removed the metallic objects from a wedge-shaped craft. For additional research, Linda Moulton Howe received these enigmatic letters and fragments from Art Bell. In June 1996, Linda hired university researchers to examine the samples using a scanning electron microscope and X-ray fluorescence spectrometry. Experts in exotic metals are perplexed by the combination of the metals bismuth, magnesium, and zinc, which were found to have alternating microscopic layers that were only microns thick. George Knapp. I believe we have technology that we did not create. Numerous individuals have come forward with fragments of the same story. We are currently examining metamaterials that we did not produce and were made in a technologically impossible manner. Narrator. Ancient astronaut theorist Giorgio Tsoukalos visited Walker Air Force Base in Roswell, New Mexico, in April 2014 to meet with Del Journey, the city's mayor, and to get a unique glimpse of the hangar where the alien bodies and wreckage from Roswell were allegedly first removed. Tsoukalos. Whoa, this is enormous. Journey, what are your thoughts? Tsoukalos. I'm getting goosebumps, man. We're stepping on history after all. Journey, isn't it incredible? Do you know the location, the actual place where they placed them? According to my information, it's most likely in this corner. Well, they brought them over there and examined the corpses. Tsoukalos. Well, it was here. Journey. This is it. Come on in then. They brought the bodies into this room after having the debris outside in the hangar area. Tsoukalos. You're standing where? I'm at a loss for words because if this was it, indeed, in it, there may have been alien life. What happened to the debris? What happened to it? Of course, the government ended up with it. According to what I understand, they transported the bodies to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, most likely along with the debris, and stored them in a military facility somewhere. Narrator. According to Roswell researchers, witnesses to the crash and recovery have been reluctant to come forward because of a government-approved bond of secrecy. However, many did decide to come forward later in life, such as Major Jesse Marcel, the first military officer to reach the scene of the Roswell crash. His grandson claims that Marcel told the family many specifics of his experience in private. Jesse Marcel III. The 509th Bombing Group's chief intelligence officer was my grandfather, Major Jesse Marcel. We discussed Roswell as children, mainly at the dinner table. My grandfather was the principal investigator in what is now known as the Roswell Incident, which we discovered through conversations. Additionally, he was unable to make sense of the debris he was looking at or make heads or tails. He chose to bring some of the debris home with him after gathering some of it. I want my family to be a part of this stuff because, whatever it is, it's really important, and it's going to change humanity. This is crucial. Narrator. The family claims that Major Marcel spread the rubble on their kitchen floor when he returned home from his initial visit to the scene. A portion of the substance was an odd, thin metal that resembled foil, but it would return to its perfect state when crumpled into a ball. Marcel further asserts that the metal his grandfather held was different from the material in newspaper photos. Marcel III. In a fairly well-known photo, he is shown holding a piece of debris, which is essentially a piece of foil made of weather balloon material. He reluctantly accepted the story and kept it. You'll see that he's not looking at the camera if you look at that. He's staring up at someone giving him commands. He reluctantly followed orders and did what he was expected to do.